Alrighty folks, y'all are in for a very special treat, and I figured I would do this because I wanted to document it for myself personally, and this is something a little special that this channel is actually named after originally. This channel is actually kind of turned to a everything kind of channel, if that makes sense. Kind of, you know, it's a little bit of everything, a little bit of Etzel stuff, a little bit of stuff about, you know, my dog, and, you know, car stuff, and, you know, this channel's kind of turned into a little bit of a everything channel, if that makes sense. But y'all are in for a very, very special treat. This channel was originally named, and still is to this day, and it will never change, Bad 66 Chevelles. This is what the channel is actually originally named after. If y'all go back in one of my first videos, I had a 66 Chevelle. It was a two-door post, and let's get the glare off of it. There's a two-door post, and that is a picture of it. That's what this channel is actually named after. And this car, it was restored, long story short, not by me, but by a body shop that was in Fredericksburg, Virginia. This car originally came from, it's always been a Virginia car, but it originally came from Cups, Virginia, from a salvage yard. Sorry about that, I had to think for a second. But it come from Cups Salvage Yard in Virginia, and it was originally a one-owner Chevelle. It is the 300 Deluxe, a two-door post. As you can see, it does have the post there. Now, don't mind the gray primer. I did all that clown work. That's what I'll call it. But same thing to the wheels, so don't mind that. But it does have a little whiskey dent in the front there, is what some other channels are saying. But the front of the fender was messed up, so I don't know if somebody backed into the car or what, but it was just on this driver's side top part where the eyebrow is on the fender. It got a little messed up there, so it's hard to see, but it is there. This little bit of blue right here is the original factory paint. Again, I did all this primer and all this clown work here, and you know, don't mind that. Let's get this thing to focus. Come on, come on. Don't mind the wood chipper in the background. We'll just cover that up. But as you can see, it does have the 283 flag emblem on the side. Now this car has all the original body panels. Nothing has ever been changed on this car, as in this stage, yet. This car originally, like I said, it was purchased from Cups Salvage Yard, located in Virginia. The original owner, where this car originally came from, was Bentonville, Virginia. It was originally a one-owner car. It came from Bentonville, Virginia. It actually had the original title to the car, and the long story short is the original owner had passed away. I've did a lot of research on this, and I've made contact with the original owner, and the original owner is not dead. He is alive, as well as his wife. And the story was he had passed away. The wife sold the car to Cup Salvage Yard, and in return, it was purchased by myself, which is not completely true. The real story is it was a one-owner car. Nobody passed away. Cups bought it, and then it sat there for a couple months. Let's get the glare off of it. It sat there for a couple months, and then myself later on in July 27th, 2006, this car was purchased. It was brought to my home in August of 2006. I'm not sure the exact date, but it's about the middle to the end of the last week of August of 2006. So it's July 27th, 2006 was the actual purchase day. And then the third or either the fourth week of August of the same year, 2006, was brought to my home. So this picture right here, I want to show y'all. This car was a actual real car that had under 100,000 miles. And I did verify that. When I seen the original title to this car, it was the original Virginia title. And it was originally under 100,000 miles. And on this car, it's hard to make it out, but it's two things we got going on here. And I know the pictures are not the best. I apologize for that. But if you look here, let's get this thing to focus here. Now the picture is blurry, so don't mind that. But we have park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low. That tells us it was originally a powerglide car, which in fact it was. I will prove that later on. And the car originally, you cannot see it, but I know it by heart. I remember it. I have it documented and everything. The car had 88,909 and on exactly 9/10. So it's just under 100,000 miles. If we look here, this is a powerglide transmission. It's a 2-speed powerglide. As you can see, a couple things are going on here. Don't mind all this clown work on the dash up here. And don't mind that little bit of blue paint there. But that's my handy clown work at the time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But anyway, as you can see, this is a powerglide in fact. And this car was a original 2-speed powerglide car. This picture right here is my favorite, and this was taken and kind of looking kind of a far away view. It was actually upstairs in my home, and I had put the window up and I had stuck the camera out and I snapped this picture. I thought it looked really cool, so I wanted to snap the picture. And this car, as you can see, it has a 4x8 sheet of plywood underneath of it, and it has a floor jack off to the left a little bit, and it had this other board right here, like a 4x4. But anyway, I had just got this car running in August of 2006. The motor was in fact locked up. It was a 283, and so it was a 283 powerglide car, and the motor was locked up. It was not stuck very hard, but I was able to get it freed up. I love this picture. It's a really good picture. And I apologize, some of these pictures, it's not actually me filming. It's actually, these pictures are kind of rough quality. The sun is shining. As the sun is over here at this angle here, and it's shining kind of at the lens in the camera here. And that's why it's not taking the best picture. Moving on to the next. This is the original 283. Never mind the air cleaner. The car does have the original air cleaner. I will show that. Right here, it does have the original air cleaner, so don't mind that. That's just more, you know, like I said, a nice way of saying it. At the time, I was young and didn't know what the hell I was doing, and, you know, just say, I really didn't know how to work on the car, so I had very to little no experience. But anyway, don't mind the air cleaner. But as you can see, it does have the original style, the original distributor. I'm not 100% sure on that ignition coil, and something that was left out that's very hard to see in photos, but here's proof right here, is we have the spark plug loom, the spark plug loom wire right here where the holder, whatever you want to call it, just a spark plug wire holder. But you can see it's mounted using the valve cover bolt on this side here, and the plug wires are coming around and going down to the exhaust manifold. So we have cylinder 1, 3, 5, and 7, and then 2, 4, 6, 8 is on the passenger side, always on the passenger side. But if we really look at this picture, it does have the original style points, and it is a 2-barrel, obviously. As you can see, it's a Rochester 2-barrel. And if we look at the alternator, that is the original alternator, and it is a externally regulated alternator. And I think that upper radiator hose is not original. It could be, but I really don't think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. But all the brackets, the pulleys, even the water pump, if you really look close at it, all that is the original GM factory parts. And if we look at our radiator, that is the original factory radiator. There's our washer jar right there. That's our original jar. And I don't think them heater hoses are the original hoses. But it is a non-AC car. It's a non-AC car. And of course we have the Suicide single pot master cylinder. Not too much of a fan of that. If you've been watching my videos, y'all know that. But moving up to the next picture. This is another picture I've taken. The hood is got a lot of rot in it, a lot of rot. And I'm trying to set these pictures up so I don't have my glare on it, and so we can kind of see them much better. Let's see. Apologize for being all shaky. This video might be a 2-part video, but we'll see how it goes. But here we look at the hood here. It's rotted very, very badly. The hood is truly unsafable. I mean, it is completely rotted to pieces. The hood was coming around on the edges. If we look right here, of course, got a glare in it. But at the edge of the lip on this hood, right through here, on the front of the hood, it was coming all to pieces. And if we look at this side, it's got the original valve covers, the original water pump pulley, the original 4-blade fan, the original GM water pump, all the pulleys. The belt, I'm not 100% sure about. I would say probably not, but I'm not 100% sure of on that. But I really like this picture too. This picture I liked. I don't know why. I just love the patina on this picture, and I love to blow this picture up one day and frame it. I just love the way it is. And again, there is a floor jack right here and a piece of plywood underneath the car where it was just, the motor was just freed up. I'd used PB Blaster and all the cylinders, pulled all the plugs out, sprayed them all down, and spun it over a couple times by hand. Everything was done by hand. And you cannot take a socket, a 5/8 socket, and put on a crank pulley, because this 283 does not have a harmonic balancer bolt. And on top of that, you don't want to put a lot of torque on it anyway, because if something bad happened, you'll end up breaking the bolt off. But so it's a little bit of a trouble. It was a little bit of work there, but I was able to get freed up and did eventually get it running. It did run. I think the points, I don't think I did anything to the points. Again, this is back in August of 2006. The points may have been cleaned. I do remember advancing and retarding the timing just a little bit, but I do not remember if we filed the points or not. I don't believe I did file the points. I don't think I did anything to them, but I would say I almost would have had to. Now, this car has sat since May of 1978. Or excuse me, let me correct that. Since May of 1983. May of 1983. And let me show you proof of that. Okay, so we look in this picture here, and I captured it just beautifully. You can probably already tell that there's a 5 right there. You got to really look at it. But that is a 5. That represents the month. In the state of Virginia, before they went to the inspection sticker that they have now, it's changed, you know, twice since then. Maybe more. But at that time, that 5 is the month, and then they would take a hole puncher and they would punch out the year. and it was punched out. It's hard to see, but they would be on the side of it, on this left-hand side of the sticker, and it was punched out in 83. So it would be May. This car was last inspected in May of 1983, and that is proof of that. The sticker is not there, but you can very much tell that the what's left of it, we'll say, is there, and that's clearly a 5. And I know that by heart. And I have other pictures of different angles that will show that. Also, that windshield was cracked in this car, and that is the original windshield. So that verifies it as well, that the windshield wasn't ever changed or anything like that. This car, and if you look at it, I would say May of 1983 is very accurate. And the title also verifies that it was the original owner. So this car's been sitting since May of 1983, and I occurred this car in August of 2006. And if we look at this next picture here, don't mind the heater hose, and like I said, don't mind all the clown work and all that, because like I said, I was young. I didn't know what I was really doing. I was just starting to learn on cars, so don't mind that. Don't mind all this other stuff. That is the original 283 emblem. We get the glare off of it there, sitting on the intake. That Chevrolet emblem there is off of a C60 dump truck, so don't mind that either. That has nothing to do with the car. And that heater hose is just laying on there, so you can see it's wrapped around and looped there. But if we really look at this 283 here, and don't mind this paint and all that other crap in the way, but the original air cleaner is present. It's originally, like I said, a Rochester 2GC. It's a 2-barrel. We have a, you can tell by the side of the alternator here, that is, in fact, the original alternator. It is a externally regulated alternator because it's externally regulated because it wasn't until 1973, correct me if I'm wrong, is when they went to the 10SI internally regulated alternator. It still has the road draft tube. It's hard to see, but the hose is there. It's coming around from the back of the block and going to the back of the carburetor there for the road draft tube. And then of course we still got our oil fill tube. It still is present. It does have the AC logo and all that good stuff still on it. The original water pump is still on this 283 at this time. The fuel pump is not the original fuel pump. So that fuel pump was changed at some point in time, because you can tell if you really look close at the bottom of that fuel pump. When they manufacture those, they crimp the bottom of it. And those are, in fact, the original bolts, where it bolts to the block. But that fuel pump is not original to this car. The heat shields are present. The exhaust manifolds are present. The original heater hose hold down is there. And like I said, it is a non-AC car. And that is the original radiator again. Alright, so here's our next picture here. And this is the original deck lid. And we still have our tail light housings. They are there. The tail lights, the lenses, and all that, they are there. I just removed all that because I was, in quotations there, working on the car. So you can see there's a bunch of filler in there. And like I said, it had a bunch of rot in here, and I filled over it. And again, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have experience with cars. I was learning at this stage. I was learning. But now, you know, I've come a long ways from this. And, you know, nowadays I would look at that, and to me that would be completely unacceptable. And I would go in there and cut all that rot out of that sheet metal there and get the same gauge sheet metal and just weld this up. Grind it off, clean it up. Make sure we got no pinholes from welding or anything like that. And put a very light coat of filler, smooth it out, block it, and let it ride. Let it all ride there. Put some 2K primer on it too. But look at our next picture here. This is the back of the car. And if we look at this picture here, I want to point this out too. Somebody at some time or another, I'm not sure if it was dealer installed or not, But, oh, let me mention this too. There was a Six Flags bumper sticker on this bumper at one time or another. So I'm not sure how long Six Flags has been around. You can't really see it because the sticker peeled off, but the lettering is still there, just like our state inspection sticker, if that makes sense. But it does say Six Flags. And you can clearly see there's the G and the S. It's very hard to see, but it is there. We can get this thing to not be blurry. There it is. There it is. Six Flags. And it has a trailer hitch on it. I'm not sure if that is dealer installed or not. I don't think it is. I think it's aftermarket. But I'm not 100% sure. And in this stage, those are the original taillight housings, the original bumper, the license plate assembly, the trunk latch right in here, the original deck lid. Everything is the exact same. This is a picture of the interior. That is the original interior to the car. And this is pretty much as I received it. The car was untouched by me at this time, and everything was sitting in the back of the car. Not everything goes to that car, but I'd say about 95% of this trim and all this other stuff did go to the car, because before I forget, this car originally, and I took some of it off, I wish I would never did that, but that is the original blue interior. It's cloth here, and then I guess that was vinyl on the outside, but that is what the car originally looked like, and it's so faded out on the cloth there. And of course, it's dirty and everything else, but they were both blue, because you can kind of see it down there a little bit. See the blue? That's where it's not messed up. But so it was, they were actually the same color at one point in time. And to get back to what I was talking about here, this car originally had the 300 Deluxe, because it was a 300 Deluxe. It did have the trim that went all the way down the side. It's just a very little thin piece of trim, maybe a ½ inch thick, maybe 3/4 inches thick, something like that. Just a very thin piece of trim that went from where the 283 emblem is, a couple inches behind this eyebrow piece of molding here, and started right almost directly in line with the 283 emblem, and went all the way down the car. Like I said, don't mind all the gray primer and all that. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I did all that. And this again was a 2-door post. Those are the original factory wheels that came on the car. Something else before I forget, this car had, somebody had changed the rear shocks on this car at some time or another and put Kmart shocks, rear shocks, on the back of this car. And they must have went to Kmart a lot, because they had transmission fluid that's still in the can. I still actually have those cans to this day that were Kmart transmission fluid cans. Here is the original dog dish hubcaps. As you can see, I have all 4 of them, and that's the ones that go to this car. They are the correct 66 2-door post 300 Deluxe, the Chevelle style dog dish hubcaps. Wheel covers fill the whole wheel in. Dog dish hubcaps just cover the center up. So sometimes they get misused. Sometimes people use to word that a little bit. They call these hubcaps, but they're actually not. The correct term is dog dish hubcaps. And then wheel covers are, look at me, I'm wording it wrong myself, pardon me, but these are the dog dish hubcaps, because they do not cover the whole entire wheel up. Wheel covers are what people sometimes refer to as hubcaps like that, but wheel covers cover the entire wheel up. The entire diameter of the wheel is covered up by a full wheel cover. So that's another picture there.